That's right. Welcome back to Sippin With Sin, the podcast about stuff and things that are important to everybody across the world. All the things, everything, not just nerdy things, but all the things. Number one podcast about such things, proven by scientists, far more smart than all of us, so we can't question it. Just accept it, embrace it, let it soak down deep into your soul because it's the truth. Welcome back for another episode and another week. Hope you're all doing well. And full disclaimer, we are recording this in front of a live studio audience, so that is nice and weird and different. But you know what? We're evolving with the times, and we're seeing how this goes. So, yeah, exactly. But let's welcome back our esteemed colleague, the one, the only, Mr. Christian.
How's it going, everyone? It feels good to be back for another week. We have plenty to talk about, some movies, some TV shows, some characters. Can't wait to get into it.
That's right. Lots of stuff we alluded to last week, as well as we've talked about in the past that we've been excited to talk about. And should be a good one. Should be a good episode. So what we'd like to do to start every episode is talk about what we're watching, reading, listening to, or playing this past week. And we are going to let Mr. Christian start us off with that. So,
All right.
What have you been into, sir? If you don't say Leisure Suit Larry this week, I'm rioting. I'm done. I'm ending the pod.
Oh, my God. Leisure Suit Larry. So we both watched a movie this week. The same thing. So I'll let you get into that. I also watched a movie after watching said movie. Don't ask me why I chose that. I was just like, let's do it. I watched Lethal Weapon 2 this week, and it's as good as the first time I saw it. I love Lethal Weapon, all the old ones, 1, 2, 3. I think there's 4 of them all together, but I think 2 is my favorite. I think. I have to go back and rewatch 3 just to see what's going on. I remember 4 pretty vividly. I know that one's not my favorite. It's cool, but it's not
why when you said Lethal Weapon did I think a Naked Gun? Right up for some reason.
That is completely different.
I know it's different, but that's like, oh God, what's that actor's name? Leslie
Nielsen.
Yes, that's who popped in my head, and I was like, that's way off. That's not right. It's Danny Glover, not Danny, Donald Glover, Danny Glover, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Donald. Yes, you are correct.
Is it Mel Gibson and Danny Glover?
Yes.
Okay.
That is the team. That is the original team, and it was great. It's a good time. Aside from watching Lethal Weapon 2, I did play Ghost of Tsushima more this past. Full disclosure, I plan on playing that this weekend at some point into my schedule. I love that game. I literally haven't been playing the story, guys. Like, I've just been playing all the side missions, just been running around, retaking camps, and following the yellow birds to treasure and stuff. I've just been looting shit. I'm a loot goblin. You guys know that about me. So like that's all I've been doing in this game is just side missions. I literally am only on Act 2, and I only got to Act 2 so that I could open up more of the map to do more side missions. So that's what I'm doing in that game. It's going to take me forever to get past it, but I'm trying to speed it along because MK1 is right up on the horizon. So I need to make sure that I have ample time to download and play that. Aside from that, I have started reading a book that I told you guys I was going to start reading like, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, and I'm behind. But I did start reading Little Heaven by Nick Cutter. As you can see, this book is pretty thick, and I don't have a whole lot of time to read, so I'm not very far in the book. I think I'm on like.
Is that the dude of the other book you read?
Yeah. Nick Cutter did the last book I read called The Troop, and The Troop is one of my favorite horror books of all time. So Little Heaven is supposed to be another really good one. It's already, I can tell you, it's not as good as The Troop in my opinion. But it's very interesting. It's very, very interesting. It's a different story altogether. So I'm excited to see like how this goes. But like I said, I'm very early in this book. I'm very, very early in it. I don't know what's going on right now. I'm meeting some characters that I kind of like, that I kind of don't like. So we'll see what happens. But it's not a bad read right now. It's fun to read. It's just not as good as the last book by him that I read. The book was like a 10 out of 10. One of my favorite books of all time, and this book right now is like a 6, 7 because I'm so to it, and the story hasn't taken off yet. So I'm still trying to see how that's going to unfold. But right now, I like it. I don't hate it. I don't want to reading it. I don't want to switch to another book. So that's a good thing.
Okay.
And aside from that, I've been playing Pokemon Leaf Green. Just in my free time, at work on break or whatever. Yeah, I got an emulator. It looks like a little Game Boy. And I've been playing that. Fancy? I would get it for you, but it's like, yeah. I mean, I'm good. There's another emulator that looks like a PSP, PS Vita, and it plays all the way from old school Nintendo games up to GameCube and PS2. So I want to play that one. I want to get that one, but it's like $200, and that's money that I do not have right now because I'm doing other stuff. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's what oh, also I watched another show that I'll get into in just a second. I listened to some music recently that I was
Ooh.
like, oh, I'm gonna bring it up on the podcast, and now I can't remember what the hell I was listening to.
Is
So
it
that
Halloween music?
It is not Halloween music. I actually purposely haven't been listening to any spooky music, and I was gonna wait until at least halfway through September to start doing that because
I slipped. I
once
fell off the
started,
wagon yesterday. I had to listen to a little bit.
you're fucking up, man.
I know.
You're messing up.
I couldn't help it.
No, I couldn't. No, I love that. But dang, y'all, I feel so bad because I can't find what I was listening to. I found some new stuff, and I was like, man, I want to bring this up on the podcast. Oh, Tesseract. Guys, I've been listening to the 2 new songs that Tesseract dropped. It's a progressive gent metal band. I've been listening to them since like 2012, maybe. But they got a new album coming out later this month, and I'm super excited for it. The 2 songs that they have out right now are called War of Being, and the second one is called The Gray. The Gray is my favorite of the 2 so far, personally, but I'm super excited for this new album to come out. They actually will be playing close to me in Nashville in November 13th, and I actually bought a ticket, so I will be going to see them live. And I've been listening to Tesseract for like, I don't know, the last 2 weeks, and I just forgot to bring it up on the pod. But yeah, I've been listening to them. Super pumped to just get back into some metal again because I've been listening to a lot of lo-fi, hip hop, and just like softer stuff for a while. I just got off the metal train for a minute, and I'm back in it full force. But aside from that, guys, I watched the first 3 episodes of Ahsoka that is now streaming on Disney Plus. Sin, I know you haven't seen it, so I won't get too much into what's going on. I will just say, if you haven't watched Star Wars Rebels, and some of the stuff you might miss, because Rebels is a big part of what's going on right now in that podcast episode. And I really like it so far. It's not the best show that I've seen on Disney Plus, but I do read it. And a character that they introduced in the 3rd episode, his name was Galen Merrick. And Galen Merrick, for the Star Wars fans, is my personal favorite Star Wars character. He was in Force Unleashed. He's also known as Star Killer. He was Darth Vader's secret apprentice, and that was before they changed the canon, before Disney bought out Star Wars and changed the canon of things. So I'm leaving because the character wears a mask. He's an Inquisitor in this show. So I'm hoping that he gets unmasked, close to the end of the series, and we find out that it is Sam Witwer's character, Star Killer Galen Merrick. Unmasked, and I'm really hoping that happens.
I'm in the series, everything.
And we find out that it is Sam Witwer's character.
I hear an echo.
Unmasked.
Dude, I don't know what's happening.
Weird.
Okay, sorry.
So is it better? Is it better now?
Yeah. I don't know. Stuff
strange.
went down for the live stream and then went back up. I don't know. I have no clue what's going on. So there's that.
I hope that we're back now.
Yeah, we should be back. So apologies, technical difficulties. Super echoey.
Is it still echoey now?
No.
Good. I'm muted on this because I have the stream pulled up on a different window, so it's muted. So I shouldn't be echoing right now personally, but I don't know how that goes.
First time doing it live. Gotta love the issues.
It happens.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna jump right back into it like nothing happened.
Yeah, you didn't fall off. It just echoed. It was like kind of goofy for a minute.
All right. With that said, guys, I'm really hoping that Star Killer ends up being this character in the show because he's my favorite Star Wars character of all time. The second one being Ahsoka, the third one being Anakin/Vader. So we'll see what happens. I really like this guy, man. He's dope. Like I played Force Unleashed 1 and 2 so many times. The game wasn't that long, so I beat the story like 4 or 5 times on each one, and I loved it. And I love that character. I love Sam Witwer. He's done a lot of stuff that I really like. He was Doomsday in Smallville. He was Boomer in what's that show called? Battlestar Galactica. He was. Yeah, he's been so many things, dude. Like I honestly can't even begin. He was Darth Maul in the animated Star Wars stuff, Rebels included. So he's been in a lot of stuff. I really like Sam Witwer as a person. I really like him as an actor. I really like him as a voice actor. Every interview I ever see with him is awesome. He knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's doing. So to see him come back as this character would make the show for me. So we'll see what happens. But guys, if you haven't been watching Ahsoka and you're a fan of Star Wars, you're a fan of Ahsoka the character, you're a fan of Galen Merrick's character, that'd be great. And one other thing I noticed, Sin, you will probably notice it too. There are two characters in the show right now, two main antagonist characters. And if you listen to their full names, one of them's name is Hati, and the other one is Sol. So they're the foxes or the wolves, excuse me, in Norse mythology that chase the sun and moon, and they were also in God of War Ragnarok as well. If you played and beat that game, so
that's interesting.
That's what I've been doing this week. Yeah, it's a cool deep cut. So like I'm looking into it, and I got more on that coming up, but I don't want to bog the podcast down with my theories about Star Wars because I could talk about that all day. Just like I could talk about Nightwing being awesome, Batman being awesome, and Halloween Ends being trash. So,
oh my God.
What about you? What have you been doing this week, man? Tell me what's up.
All right. Well, this past week we've been streaming. I've been kind of all over the place. I've played Fortnite this week. I've played Naraka Blade Point. I've played, dude, I don't even know. I've just been kind of bouncing around. Played a little Death Stranding off stream. Still have no clue what the hell's going on in that game, like remotely. That game is so confusing, but it's awesome at the same time because it is very different from anything I've ever played. So been doing those, but we've also watched some stuff. I finally watched The Flash.
Excuse me.
Bless you. And I have some thoughts. I thought we could discuss that real quick.
Finally watched The Flash?
Finally watched The Flash.
I can't wait to talk about it. I can't wait to hear you. I have thought, and hopefully I can better explain why I gave the movie the rating that I gave.
Well, okay, first off, what was your rating? I can't remember.
My rating was I think I gave it an 8. It was either a 7.5 or an 8. One of those.
Ooh, okay. All right. Flash.
I'll explain why after you tell me what you think, because I don't want to influence you. Everybody hates this movie, and
no, I don't hate
it.
I don't hate it.
Okay.
I don't hate it. What I do hate is
I already know what you hate.
Dude, the very probably first 30 minutes of the movie, the CGI is some of the worst awful. CGI I've seen in years.
It's awful. It's
like, I don't know. Okay, my question is, was this something that was added to the movie after they've done it, like a late addition to add some of this stuff, and that's why the CGI was so not up to par? Because it's atrocious. It's so bad. And no offense to I know the CGI people they're professionals, and I'm sure they work their butt off, but dude, it was like, we're watching, I was like, this is awful. This is like B-movie quality CGI for a movie that was delayed how many times and has a huge budget. It's like, this is bad. It's really bad.
Yeah, it got delayed like 4 years? I believe.
So that's the first qualm. CGI, mainly in the first part of the movie. It isn't as bad later. There are still wonky parts. I was like, God, it's still weird looking. The very opening, bad. Like, even Ben Affleck as Batman, I don't know what they did to him, but he looks so weird.
It's like his mask was fucked
his
up. It was
chin
all weird.
and everything was weird on his face. That was really weird. The movie, I was interested. I was curious. There was stuff I don't know a lot about the Flash. So like the phasing through walls, I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know you could do that. I mean, it makes sense, but I didn't know that was an actual thing.
Wow. I'm surprised you didn't know that.
I didn't know that. We both looked at each other, me and the missus, and we're like, oh, okay.
That's fine.
Do what?
I was just copying you, like, oh yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, we were like, okay. Sure. Well, I mean, we were like, it makes sense. So I guess you move so fast, yeah, okay, whatever. I think the end was rushed, so I definitely agree with the final act being rushed. I think they shit on a couple characters pretty hard.
Yeah.
Like, pretty bad, actually.
Like who?
I just splashed GFUEL my Kara. No, is that her name?
Zero.
Yeah.
Supergirl.
Oh, that stings. Yeah. She kind of got short end of the stick there.
You mean with how her story ended?
Yeah, they were just like, here's Supergirl. Check out Supergirl. Yeah, Supergirl, awesome. Supergirl gets okay. Spoilers, chat. If you haven't watched the movie, close your ears, ignore it for a minute. Those listening, if you haven't watched it, skip ahead in the podcast just a little bit.
No, listen, but I'm gonna add to that really quick. If you haven't seen The Flash, I'm going to assume that you don't want to see The Flash because I'm not holding back.
Yeah, we're gonna. There's full spoilers in this, so we finally watched it. The Flash has been out a while, so spoilers ahead. There is your warning. Okay, so 3, 2, 1. You've had your warning. All right. So they kill her multiple times. I was like, God, they are just not caring about this character. They're just like, sorry, you're just gonna keep dying. Michael Keaton, amazing. I was so happy to see him. Was it mostly nostalgia? Probably. Seeing him as Batman reprise Bruce Wayne. He was a crazy, kooky Bruce Wayne without an Alfred making some crazy spaghetti and stuff. And
now you sound making some crazy spaghetti.
And like him jumping around with his long hair. But it made sense to me because I feel like this could just be how I would interpret Bruce Wayne after Batman if he survives to be an old Bruce Wayne. I think he would be a shut-in hermit. I don't think he would be out and about. I think he would be closed off from society and probably be like that, be a recluse. So it made sense to me. I liked it. The cameos. Christian, I'm so mad at you because you let me guess, and then I'm pretty sure on podcast I said George Clooney, and you died laughing.
I did.
And damn if George Clooney wasn't in this movie.
But
and
tell me that wasn't the funniest fucking thing ever. Because when I was in the theater seeing this shit, and George, I heard his voice, so I knew who it was, but I didn't say anything.
I kind of guessed it when he pulled up. I was like, that's definitely not Affleck. Like, whenever he was talking, I was like, that's not Affleck. And the missus was like, Christian Bale. I was like, that is not Christian Bale. I was like, this is Clooney, isn't it? Because Kilmer is not in the physical state, I believe, to be able to do it. Right?
Right.
So Kilmer's ruled out. It's not Bale. It's definitely not Keaton. I knew
it was supposed to be Keaton.
So the other,
it was originally supposed to be Keaton. You knew that, right?
Huh?
So originally that was supposed to be Michael Keaton. You can even Google it and see all of the images where they filmed it as Michael Keaton. Remember when we got those shots of Michael Keaton with his hair cut real nice and he had the suit on outside with Barry? That's what that scene was. It was because Michael Keaton was supposed to be the new Batman. Affleck was gone. And then that version of Michael Keaton was supposed to train Batgirl for that movie that was coming out that they canceled. And Michael Keaton was literally going to be Batman moving forward until we got another Batman with Batman Beyond at some point. But they scrapped that and then got George Clooney to come in. And it really fucking sucks, but that's what happened. I did like seeing George Clooney though because it was fucking hilarious. It was so funny.
I mean, it makes sense in the whole Batverse kind of thing. Mm-hmm. God. Okay, other cameo. And you can tell me if I'm completely wrong on where this character come from or what they were, and I'm sure do you know who I'm going to say?
I don't know who you're going to say just yet.
Nicolas Cage is Superman.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Was that not the Kevin Smith Superman that got scrapped?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, making sure. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's where that Superman come from. They got scrapped and he was going to be it. I was like, that's pretty funny. I like it. Enough about cameos, though. So I did like the movie. I was interested, I should say. I was interested. The CGI at the beginning, literally, I've seen B movies that it might have been better, to be honest. It was awful. Especially with the budget they had. Ezra Miller, I thought did a good job, especially playing two different versions of Barry, essentially. Mm-hmm. You had the Barry that we know from like Justice League and stuff that have been around. And then you have this very green learning Barry that was kind of obnoxious and dumb at times, but kind of developed as time went on to an extent. I kind of saw the villain coming I don't know much about Dark Flash, right? That's what he becomes?
Yeah, that they made that shit up for the movie.
Okay, so that's not a thing. So is the alternate dimension Barry that we see that becomes Flash, is that Reverse Flash that wears the Batman suit? Or no? What is that? Or is that just is that just Flash?
Okay, so
You know what I'm talking about, right? Like the longer hair Barry.
Yes. So hear me out. So we have our Barry Allen that we follow throughout the movie, right? The main Barry, prime Barry. So we have that. Then when he goes back in time in the movie and he meets his younger self, we'll just call him Young Barry. That is what Barry Allen was before. Well, no, that's a lie. That's what Barry would have been if his mother didn't die. So that's that progression of him. All just kind of goofy and happy and doing his own thing and roommates, blah blah blah. Like that would have been Barry had he had his mother die and then set him on the course of being the Flash later on in life. He does get the powers because Barry gives him the powers so that he doesn't lose them in the present, which is the Barry that we see. However, when it happens, he loses his powers because he essentially gives him his own Speed Force ability, right? That's why we have young Barry with the powers. Okay. Then when you see the Dark Flash character later, that is Barry 2 that went on that course of constantly trying to save Batman and Supergirl. That one moment in time that he kept trying to change, he had been trying to change that moment for years.
Right.
For so
That's
long
why he
that
looks
had gotten
awful, right? He has got like the
yeah.
I don't know what that stuff is on him. Like
So that stuff that's on him, if you're paying attention, it's like Kryptonian pieces. So every time he goes back, he gets stabbed or something with a Kryptonian blade or piece of the ship that blows up or whatever, and it just attaches to him. And he kept getting pieces of that shit attached to him, and he just used it as weapons. So that's what was happening. I don't think that that's a great idea or design for that character, but that's what was happening. And it was a weird take. That character, the Dark Flash character, should have been Reverse Flash the entire time because Reverse Flash is a different character. He is like the to Flash's Batman, right? So it should have been, but they changed it up because I guess they thought they were gonna have multiple films and they could do other
is
stuff.
Is he done as Flash now after this?
Oh yeah.
Is he? Okay. Well, are they? Excuse me. Sorry. Are they?
They are done as they're done as Barry Allen.
Has this been confirmed?
No way that.
Well, I mean, I figured it probably would be with the legal issues, but I didn't know.
It's not been confirmed like yet. We haven't seen like a press release or anything, but because the movie did so fucking poorly, nobody wanted to support Ezra Miller being this character again.
They made a little bit of money, according to this. It says the budget was 200 to 220 million, and it says box office was 268.5. So they made a little bit, but not a lot. Now I say not a lot. It's still 40 million, but Christian doesn't care. He's like, I'm done.
The thing is, like, the movie made some money, and it made more money on like digital Blu-ray sales and then physical Blu-ray sales that are coming up. Like, it's making its money on the market after the fact. Just in general, it didn't make nearly what it wanted to make, what it was supposed to make in theaters. But there's a couple of reasons for that. One, the CGI is terrible. Two, the movie was overhyped by people that apparently had seen the movie. Three, they were probably told that the CGI was going to be fixed and that they were going to add some scenes in when they saw the movie initially, and that's not the case. They didn't fix anything. All they did was add the scene with George Clooney. That's all they changed. And then aside from that, another issue is this movie came out a week after Across the Spider-Verse, and they have such
far
a
better movie.
story.
Just saying.
I mean, it's a much better film, 100%. Everything about it is better. This movie is so closely tied to that film because remember in Spider-Verse you had like the canon events thing going on, and then this movie you had the inevitable intersection, which is the exact same thing. An inevitable intersection is just a canon event. It's canon. It's canon in that world where young Barry is from, that universe. It's canon for Zod to show up, kill Supergirl, and then fucking take over, like and terraform the planet. It is literally a canon event. They cannot change it. So that's what our Barry, Barry 1, was trying to tell younger Barry, Barry 2, but he didn't want to hear it because he was like, I'm the Flash. I'm the fastest person in the world. I can do anything. And it's just like, sometimes feeling like you can do anything is leading to more problems. Barry going back in time initially to save his mom literally screwed up the course of everything. And that's what Michael Keaton Bruce Wayne was telling him when he was making the bowl of spaghetti.
Gotcha.
Bruce Wayne, like Ben Affleck Bruce Wayne told him, you could fix everything or you could destroy everything because you don't know what the ramifications of changing something in the past would be in the future. You could save your mom, but then your dad fucking dies. Or you save your mom and then you die. Or you save your mom and you never become the Flash and we never meet anyway. And all the people that you've saved die anyway. So like so many things could happen. You don't know what you're doing. So if you're going to change something, don't make it something this big. But because Barry was like, I can do it, he did it anyway. And that's what happened. So Barry creates a parallel universe, which is what we see in the movie. And it's doomed to fucking die. And it's all his fault. And younger Barry thinks that he can fix it because he's just like our Barry, just more obnoxious. So that's what happens in the film. So I really like the story of that. I really like the family aspect of the movie. I really like the story that we did get. The CGI
I enjoyed
was
the
terrible.
story. The dad's not the same, correct? From
No, it's a different guy.
Okay.
Different
Well, I
guy.
thought that was a different actor. I was pretty sure, but I didn't like IMDb or anything. Okay, so I don't want to dwell too long on it because we do have some other stuff to talk about. But you gave it a 8.
Yeah, I gave it an 8 because of the story, the emotional impact, and the acting was actually on point. Supergirl's acting was I don't really count her. I actually didn't give a shit about Sasha Calle's like watching the movie a second time. Her acting wasn't good, but I did enjoy Supergirl because her character made sense in that world.
She didn't really
I was like
do or add much, honestly.
Well, if you think about it logically, right? And I'll say this and I'll be done. If you think about it logically, that Supergirl did exactly what she needed to do because one, she's never used those powers until so she only had the powers for like a day before she went to war with Zod. She doesn't know how to fight. She's not a soldier. She's literally been sitting in a prison rotting for 30 years almost. So she's garbage. She doesn't know how to do shit. And she just is powerful as fuck. But Zod is a whole ass soldier. And the reason why I beat Zod is because Superman had been absorbing sun for like 30 years. So he was stronger than Zod to begin with because he just had the power. So that's why he won that fight. And Feora could have killed Supergirl immediately. And I think we saw her kill her once in one of the timelines that Barry went back to. But yeah, man, like it was crazy. But I will say, that's probably Michael Keaton back the fucking Kryptonian. That shit was dope. It was awesome.
All right, I'm about to make you mad. So my rating is a 6.5.
That's totally fair. I get it. I totally get it. The
CGI
was
hurt
so
it
bad,
for me,
dude.
which I did say CGI gets better. I think the acting's fine. I did enjoy that. I would go as high as a 7. I just think things got rushed at the end, which are a little wonky.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the whole like spaghetti time theory, like all that. I think, especially for the delays and all the stuff that we had, I think it could have been better. Like I think it could. We're not necessarily better. I think it could have been more polished. Keaton coming back, wonderful for me. I love that. I loved everything about that. I enjoyed him reprising the role. I enjoyed him getting roughed up, showing that age. Like I haven't Batman in a while, but I'm like this adrenaline's pumping through me. I'm so excited. I enjoyed the Batcave, the old Batmobile, the Batwing. Right? Isn't that what the plane's called?
Yeah.
Like all that stuff, loved it. But I would give it a 6.5 for just the way it kind of ends and the CGI. I would go to a 7. 6.5 to a 7. is where I'm gonna go. I don't hate the movie.
I think a 7. I think a 7 is a perfect rating for that movie because if you can get past the CGI, the movie itself tells it's really good. So I get.
Like
that.
I said, it's not as bad in other parts. It's something about the beginning which makes me wonder if, since you said they redid the stuff with Clooney, did they change the beginning? Did they change stuff?
No,
that
they just
fumbled
they
that
didn't
part.
Change it. It's just bad, bro. There's no excuse. They just
also when they're in the
suck.
I don't know what it's called. Whenever they get in like, it's like in the middle of the timelines. You know what I'm talking about?
Chrono Bowl.
That's
what they call it.
That's a little wonky in parts. Like pieces of that are wonky, which I guess it could be because
that looks like absolute boo shoes. I hated that.
Took it as maybe it's because you're looking through like at different timelines. That's why it's kind of goofy looking. So I took that with a grain of salt. But those babies at the beginning, dude, that wasn't even remotely close to realistic. I was like, these look awful. Like, dude, it's so bad. Okay. But yeah, Flash, it wasn't bad though. I would watch it again for sure. And I mean, I don't know a lot about Barry or any of that. But it was interesting. It was, I enjoyed the interaction and like the story with the two Barrys for sure. Like it was kind of fun. Okay, next thing. So I know I've drugged my feet on this. This has been something I've wanted to watch for a long time, but I finally was like, you know what? We're going to watch it. We're going to start it. And I watched episode 1, and I think we had started episode 1 a long time ago and got like 5 minutes in and was like, I'm not feeling this at this time. We'll come back to it. And I finally started it. It's something I've wanted to watch. Like I said, it is done by the people that did Bly Manor or Haunting of Bly Manor or whatever it's called, as well as Haunting on Hill House or whatever, which was fantastic. Bly Manor I was not as into, but this is called Midnight Mass. It's been out roughly 2 years, so I am a super slacker. Yes, I know. I'm aware. Forgive me. It happens. But we started it, and dude, I couldn't stop. Neither could the missus. We both got hooked instantly. I probably was hesitant because I was like, all right, it's another ghost, because the first 2 have been very paranormal, revolving around ghost, right? Like that's been what they've been about. So I was kind of thinking that, dude, it's not. And as soon as I started to figure out what it was, I was like, oh, you got me hook, line, and sinker. Like I'm invested.
How long did it take you to figure it out?
Not long at all. I started seeing stuff and I was like, wait a minute. I started getting suspicious of the priest right away. I was like, what have you done? You've either made like a pact with a demon, done something with a vampire. Like there's something going on with you. I do not trust this. And then the more signs, I was like, dude, that's him. I've already figured out like he has done something to get in better aid, like get to his peak self. That is a fantastic miniseries, I think.
Absolutely.
I would give that.
You want to hear something funny?
An 8.5.
Yeah, I gave it a 9.
I would give it right. I could see a 9. I can definitely justify a 9. So I really, really like Haunting a Hill House. I think that's what it was called, wasn't it? Haunting a Hill House?
Yeah, that's what it's called. What it's called.
I really liked it. I thought its story was good. I enjoyed the acting. Bly Manor didn't keep me as invested. I may like this better than Hill House. I really, really liked it. I despised the character I guess you're supposed to despise, which would be Bev. I despised her the whole time. I was like, when is she going to meet her end? Like, please make this happen. I liked the Riley story, the Aaron Green, but my favorite had to be the priest. The priest, I don't know if it's his voice,
the best
his
character, man.
mannerisms, 100%. How calm he was, but yet how powerful he seemed to still be and like controlled. And this isn't like vampire talk, just him as a person. He was very, he brought me in and I was very interested. Now the creature that we know literally nothing about. I love the fact that you don't know its name. You haven't really heard it speak, like actually speak much. You don't know where it come from. You don't know how old it is. you don't know anything. I think the most it does the thing to bait someone in where it like mimics a voice or something. But other than that, the most you see it do is it does like the shh finger to someone. And I was like, man, it is awesome. We lost Christian for a second. I don't know what just happened there. Hopefully things did not go down. I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe he'll come back. But it is amazing. The design of the creature, really, really fascinating. Really liked it as well. It was very old school vampire-ish. I'm trying to think of what to compare it to. Like if you were to take like Underworld and them not feed and they go more predator looking. So one thing sidetrack. One thing this show reminded me of, it reminded me kind of sort of 30 Days of Night. A little less like animalistic predator style vampire. Like it was still that, but these weren't necessarily your charming, suave vampires. These were more, or even with like the fangs sticking out, these are more, I don't know. I love the eyes. I don't really know how to describe it. But the creature itself, I love the fact that it's very vague what we know about him or them. I don't know what it is. I did love that. If it was a little more 30 Days a Night, like crazy fangs and a little more animalistic whenever they turned, I wouldn't have been mad. But I did like what we got. Just the crazy eyes, the uncontrollable bloodthirst, all that. Dude, it's a really good show. It was a really, really good show. Pretty solid character development. And just every episode we're interested. It was so bad that like the missus would be like, I'm sacrificing sleep because I wanna watch this. And I'm like, let's go to sleep. She's like, no, another episode. I need to know. I need this. And that's when you know it's a good show, is like when you can't stop.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I think so. I know that you talked about it briefly earlier, but Bev or Miss Keen, whatever, like the redhead lady, I haven't hated a character as much as I hated her.
Oh my God. The self-righteousness of her.
This bitch killed a dog, bro. Like, fuck you. Like, oh my God.
That was, the writers do a great job of making you hate her instantly. And they do not back down from it. Like, it just escalates every episode. You're like, please, something happen. One thing they do, dude, they made me eat my words. So I love, personally, in shows where all bets are off. Game of Thrones did it really well at times, where you can be as emotionally invested in a character as you want, and the show does not care. They're like, oh, you're a fan of this person? Gone. Dead. This show kind of does that, and I was like, okay, you have me. Like, all bets are off. Nobody's safe. I'm cool with that. It makes the watching far more interested because, for example, Riley, I was like, Riley's going to make it to the end. Riley will be a big key component in figuring out how to fix all this, which technically was, but at the same time, they were like, oh, you like Riley? Sorry. That's how it goes. Not sorry.
Bro,
you like Joe? Joe's gone.
I wasn't expecting that.
Do what?
Was not expecting that.
No,
I pretty much got everybody at the end, though.
I really like how they did this. I wish, I'm trying to think.
Did you catch, though, that the
Mike Flanagan is the writer. The Flanagan brothers, I believe, right? Mike Flanagan
and his wife was like the main girl, Erin.
Oh, really?
That's his wife. Yeah.
Kate Siegel is his wife?
Yeah.
She was in she's been in both of them. The other two, I believe, too, right?
She's in most of the stuff that he does.
Wait, did he do Midnight Club?
I mean, Midnight Club? I don't know what that is.
Because I noticed, I think Riley's also in Midnight Club. I saw it come out last year. Yes, he did. He wrote Midnight Club. Well, I guess I have something else to watch. Midnight Club is at a manor, a mysterious mystery, at a manor with a mysterious history, 8 members of a midnight club meet each other at midnight to tell sinister stories and look for signs of supernatural from the beyond. Come out last year.
I haven't watched that. What was the girl's name who was in the wheel? I can't remember.
You want an actress name or her name?
Her character's name.
Put me on the spot and I just went blank.
Because I haven't seen the show in a year. Okay. I really liked her character progression and whatnot. Yeah, it is Lisa. That's right. I really liked her character, and I don't know if you remember, but at the last episode at the end, she couldn't walk anymore. Remember that? After she got her legs back.
So does that insinuate that the main one didn't make it because it was trying to find shelter and they're 30 miles off coast and its wings are jacked up?
Exactly.
So it died.
So it was like that's the insinuation is that creature, the angel is what they called it in the show.
Yeah.
The angel was dying, so therefore all of the and you have to continually be drinking the blood, right? So you can't just drink it the one time and be cool. You have to keep doing it. That's why they keep doing the communions and stuff. So it was wearing off, and the creature is dying as well because it can't find salvation, it can't find shelter, it can't, it's all that stuff. What I thought was going to happen was the creature was just going to like fall into the water and then survive, and then we could get possibly. But I'm glad that it did leave off that way because it was so intense. The whole episode that we got when Riley essentially dies, right? All of that, I was, dude. Me and Joe were just like,
Do you not love when they do that though? When they're like, "Here's a main character. We have gave you backstory. We have gave you history. We have invested you in this character. It's done. They're gone. That's it. Sorry."
The other thing that's
and there was
really
like
funny about this
two
show,
or three episodes left, and I was like, okay, like.
Then he takes her out in the fucking boat and just dies.
I was wondering if he was going to go after her blood. I was like, is he taking her out there?
I knew that he wasn't going to do that, and as soon as he got on the boat, I was like, he's just going to wait for the sun and kill himself. Like that's what he's going to do it to prove to her what he's saying is real.
Do you like that they didn't have fangs like normal vampires? Like it was different. It was a different vampiric take.
I liked it because for the uninitiated horror fans, they don't know what the fuck is going on the whole time until you see the angel in the church. And it makes sense to me because everything about it was like, oh, this is like classic Nosferatu Dracula shit, and I love it. And I was really into it. I will say though, a funny thing about this show is we talked about this on the podcast. I talked about this on the podcast like a year ago, telling you to watch this, and you're just not watching.
I know, I'm a slacker. It's one of those ones I kept seeing. I'm like, I need to watch this, and then I wouldn't watch it. Like I would watch something else. But I was like, it's spooky season. This is the perfect time to watch it. Now that I know that same writer does Midnight Club, I might actually start that this weekend. And I bet that's not going to be a hard sell for the missus because she loved Midnight Mass. She was so into it. So what about the creature and feeding? That thing gave no shits about anything. Like when it was drinking blood,
taking straight bullets.
Yeah, it just gets shot, feeding. Would look at you and be like, and go back to feeding. I'm like, dude. Also, it was super tall.
Yes, it was.
I think it was big. It's interesting how, like, I never really, like, them comparing, like, communion and religion and stuff to vampire stuff. I never really noticed how much that intertwines. Until I was like, wow, that all kind of, like, semi-blends together with the lore and the mythos of, like, vampires.
Yeah, I knew that because I look into the lore of things a lot, so I already had the similarities between like vampires in the church and like all of that stuff, werewolves and all that. Like I've been looking into that since I was 15-ish. So yeah, I knew that going in. I just didn't know how far they were going to take it. And what the other thing I didn't realize at first was about the priest. Like I didn't realize who he really was at first. And I also didn't realize that his daughter was that character as well. It took me a minute to get there before they said it in the show. And I thought
Mrs.
that was really
called
good,
that pretty early. Surprisingly. She was like, that's his daughter.
I didn't,
that's why he keeps looking at her. I was like, that makes a lot of sense, actually. And why the mom was so devout and like, it's a weird relationship. And even how she acted about the priest, I was like, that makes a lot of sense. I was like, I think you're right.
Like I wasn't putting those pieces together because I was trying to figure out the mystery of everything else. And then like I said, by the time I figured it out, it didn't really matter because it was right before shit started popping off anyway. And when we watched the show, we binged the shit out of it. We were
Yeah,
just like back
it's
to
a
back.
very
So
good show. If you haven't watched it, Midnight Mass on Netflix. It's 7 episodes, about an hour long each, and it's very good writing. I thought it pulls you in pretty quick, and it definitely keeps your attention. It's pretty good pacing. I would recommend it, especially as spooky season's coming on and we're getting closer to spooky season or starting it. Definitely check it out. You have any more thoughts about that? Any more
I don't,
thoughts?
man. Just watch it if you haven't already. It's a fantastic show.
All right. You mentioned you possibly had something about Mortal Kombat, so let's talk about that. I know we're starting to run short on time, so.
Yeah, I thought that I had something on Mortal Kombat, but I don't think that I do. I think it was honestly just more news about what was already happening, and then I watched the trailer with Batista in it, and
I watched part of that, and I don't really know what's going on. Is it just Batista hyping up Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, it's a very cringy commercial. Like good God,
so you
cringy
loved
as hell. I did not. I actually kind of hated it. I'm not gonna.
So you
There's a bunch of people just yelling Mortal Kombat, and then Batista at the end also yells Mortal Kombat, and it's just like, all right, cool. It has a little bit of gameplay at the very end, and that was the only part I gave a shit about. I didn't like it.
Okay, fair enough. Any other news? I saw they posted something about Invasions, but I haven't watched it.
Yeah, I haven't looked at it either, and I didn't know if it was new. I thought it was the same old stuff.
It's probably the same. Time of recording this, I think we have. Is it the 14th or 19th? When does it come out?
19th.
Oh, we have 18 days. 18 days. 18 days until combat. I'm excited. I can't wait. I cannot wait for it.
Very excited to play.
Super excited. All right. Did you have anything else to discuss this week?
I don't. I have a last call for us, though.
All right. Well, I guess it's about that time. Like I said, we're running short on time. Also, huge shout out to those watching over on Kick, kick.com/IamSinister. We are doing this live for the first time, kind of a trial, if you will, to see how it goes recording it live. We would like to possibly start doing this in the future and getting some of the listeners to participate, maybe do the last call live, or maybe even have a Q&A section in the podcast where we answer a couple questions from chat and stuff like that. But it's time to
pass the whiskey.
That's right. Get your
whiskey
as we go into the last call question. What you got for us this week?
All right, so I was thinking last week actually about just horror in general because I knew the spooky season was upon us, which it is now. It's almost here. It's the 1st of September. Fall is getting ready to happen. The weather is getting a lot cooler. So
the weather's getting magnificent.
About horror movies. Right. It is practically long sleeve, thin hoodie weather. Excuse me. And I'm super into that. Like, I love wearing hoodies. I like wearing long sleeves that have like really cool shit on them. Jackets and all that is really cool. I don't like being cold though. So the winter time is a big no-no, but fall is great. And I love orange. I love, spices and whatnot. Not necessarily pumpkin spice, but just spices.
Wait, you don't like pumpkin spice?
The smell of that. Pumpkin spice is fine.
Don't you dare be blasphemous right now talking about you don't like pumpkin spice.
I mean, it's a little basic for
Sam's
me,
coming to your house. He's gonna make you think
pumpkin
basic.
Spice isn't a part of that.
It is to him.
But I was thinking about horror movies, and I was thinking about, man, there's so many good horror movies out there, but there's also so many horror movies out there that are super overrated, overhyped. I wanted to ask you, what do you think is one of the most, or just a couple maybe, of the most overrated, overhyped horror movies of all time?
Oh. That is that's a tough one.
It is. And I know that this is 100% our opinions. This isn't like these are absolutely the most overrated horror movies of all time. You have to agree. Like, no, this is our opinion 100%. And if you don't agree with our opinions, that's great. Let us know in the comments, in all the videos. Let us know anywhere that you can find us on our socials what you think the most overhyped horror movies are of all time. But these are just what we think. And That could be something that you heard a lot about and you watched it and it wasn't good, or something that you watched that you think is fine, but people talk about it all the time like it's the best thing since sliced bread. Like, I'm just curious where your head's at on that.
Dude, how you gonna spring that on me at the very end?
I mean,
That's tough. That's very tough. What do you have?
I mean,
I'll tell you one of the things that popped in my mind, but at the same time, though, it's not necessarily. My opinion is jaded, really bad, on it.
okay.
It's okay. Full disclaimer. I understand why this movie is known as one of the scariest movies out there. I completely understand it. I get it. For that generation, for when that movie come out, no one had seen anything like it. 100% get it. For me, I screwed myself up by watching something first, which then messed me up when I actually saw the movie. And it just did not hit like I wanted it to hit. And that movie would be The Exorcist. So I feel like Exorcist gets hyped a lot as the scariest movie. And it is scary. Demonic possession, I understand. If I had not seen Scary Movie before I was able to watch The Exorcist, I may have a completely different tune. But that movie screwed it up so bad for me because all I had was those images and things in my head. I do like The Exorcist, but it is very hyped. Trying to think of something else. A lot of movies now get overly hyped as the scariest movie of all time, and then or like, this movie will terrify you, and then you watch it and I'm like, I've seen scarier. Hereditary was good. It was overhyped. People overhyped it a lot. What is another one? I really liked Black Phone, but people hyped that one up big time. Dude, that's actually a tough question, though. I feel bad because these movies I actually like, but in the grand scheme of things, how much people hype them. The Ring. Yeah. The Ring holds a special place for me because at that time, like, I don't know. But yeah, The Ring's okay. The Ring's not bad. I think we lost Christian. Speaking of The Ring, I think he went down the well. Maybe he will return. Maybe not. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say with him. Hopefully he returns. What else? What's another one? That is actually a great question. Overhyped horror movies. And I'm probably going to catch all kinds of flack for the Exorcist. But people tell me it's the scariest movie of all time. I honestly don't know what movie I would say is the scariest movie of all time for me. I feel like I've got so desensitized to the stuff at this point that it's hard for me to really get scared. Like, even when we watch Midnight Mass, like jump scares and stuff that got my wife, I was sitting there just like unfazed. And then I would start laughing at her. What is it? There was a movie recently that got a lot of really good. Evil Dead got a lot of hype. Evil Dead was good. Evil Dead was good though. What else? I'm not sure what happened to Christian. He may be stuck down the well. But yeah, we're gonna go with those for me. I'm very curious to see what Christian has to say if he ever returns from the abyss. He may not. We may have lost.
Back in here.
All right.
What was the second movie that you said?
I said
The
Exorcist, which I'm going to catch a lot of shit on that. I already know. Because people are... And by no means am I saying these movies suck. I like The Exorcist. I like Hereditary. What was the other movie I said?
You said Hereditary.
Okay, here's my problem. People will say, and this is largely media... This is the scariest movie ever made. Audiences are crying. Audiences are throwing up, blah, blah. And then I watch it, I'm like, no, it's not. It's not. I'm desensitized, so that's a me problem. I don't think it's the scariest movie ever made. I don't know what the scariest movie ever made is for me, honestly. I think I have. That's going to be really hard for me to decide. But Hereditary was good. Exorcist is good. Classic. I like both movies. I am no means saying their boo-boo shoes are shitting on them. I'm just saying the hype that people tell you, you will think this movie is going to make you piss yourself, and I'm not going to sleep for a week, and it's not the case. That's where I'm going to go. Probably a very not great answer, but, you know.
It's fair, though. I get it.
What do you say?
Some overrated horror films for me. One is definitely Blair Witch Project. That's an overhyped one for me for sure.
My thing with Blair Witch was just at the time I loved the camera. That was honestly I really didn't pay attention. I didn't really care about the story as much as I really liked the revolutionary handheld camera. That was my big thing.
Yeah, I don't think that the movie is awful, like you were saying earlier, but I think it's definitely overhyped and like nothing happens. Literally nothing happens in that movie. If you watch the entire thing,
are you gonna say Paranormal Activity also? Since is on your list?
I think that Paranormal Activity is just a modern Blair Witch with a little bit of things happening. But it's not as overhyped as Blair Witch. I think that Paranormal Activity, like because it has so many fucking sequels, the hype for that movie literally died. Like people just don't even care anymore. Like the people who like it love it, but everybody else is just like, yeah, I saw a couple of them. So I wouldn't really count that in particular. Like, was it overhyped when it came out? Sure. Like I said, it turned into a franchise, and that hype died almost immediately. Another one that I hear people talking about that is very overhyped, at least for me, is Cabin Fever. I like that movie. Don't get me wrong. I like the movie a lot. But it's not nearly as good and as scary and as mind blowing and
it's not scary as much as it's gross.
Exactly. I'm gonna get a lot of shit for this for old school horror fans for sure. And by no means do I think this is a bad movie. I just think that it's overhyped. I think that it started a movement for sure. And we see a lot of that happening now. But Rosemary's Baby is, in my opinion, overhyped for horror fans. And it's like 50% of that movie is boring as shit. Like, goddamn. To me, I don't hate the movie. Just half of it is just really fucking boring. But I do like the movie because I like culty shit a lot. And that's like OG culty shit, you know, wife of Satan, your baby's gonna be this, gonna be that kind of thing. Like I love that. I love the fact that everybody's in on this shit except for Rosemary herself. Like I love all of that. It's just I think that when I finally got to see the movie, I had this idea of what the movie was gonna be in my head, and then when I saw what really happened, I was like, damn.
That's kind of like that's Exorcist for me. I should have watched Exorcist so much earlier. I feel like it would have been. Yeah. But yeah, well, I just remember everyone would always tell you. I remember it was my cousin wanted to watch it, and they had come into town and they were like, "Let's watch the scariest movie ever made." You like scary movies? Like, yeah. And they're like, "Let's watch Exorcist." So like, all right, let's watch it. And they're like, "Dude, it's gonna scare us so much." I'm like, "Okay, let's watch it." And then we watched it, and I was like, "I'm not scared. Like, I'm not even fazed." What? Oh my god! Like, dude, it's not. I don't know. It's a good movie. It's a good movie. I can't stress that enough. I do like The Exorcist.
I love The Exorcist. I think that I used to hate the beginning of the movie because I just wanted to get to Reagan and her mom and like story progressing. But like now that I'm an adult and I've watched it again, I do like the beginning because it gives you everything that you need. Like you don't have to put any pieces together. They kind of give you everything, right? So I like that aspect of it. I love the ending of the movie. I love the character progression of my father Karras and all that. Like I just like how that goes.
All right, who else you got? I'm curious. You have a list over there. You come fully prepared and you just drop this in my lap.
Yeah, let me just read you off the list. So I already said Rosemary's Baby. I already said Blair Witch Project. I said Cabin Fever. The Purge was another one on my list.
Oh yeah, The Purge is. I'm not a big Purge fan. I'm sorry.
Purge is so overhyped, so overbloated, so just
overdone.
Like the first one was fine. Yeah,
very overdone.
The first one was fine because it was essentially a home invasion. The first one was just really a home invasion movie, so I was like, this is cool. And then they took it out into the streets, but it was just an action film at that point where people were dying, and I just didn't care.
I don't really even consider it horror at this point. Like I've kind of.
It's not. Another one, and I'm gonna get shit from this at home. It's not for me. It's not bad by any means. I think this is actually a good movie. It's just not for me. Rocky Horror Picture Show. Every
I
spooky
don't know that I've ever
season,
watched it.
every spooky season, somebody is begging me to watch Rocky Horror, and I'm just like, God damn it, please, no. And I know I'm gonna have to watch it this spooky season because I'm not a huge musical person. I know I'm gonna have to watch it.
You're singing
So
along.
I'm gonna get wine drunk. No, dude, I'm gonna get wine drunk and just let it happen. That's what I'm gonna do. But those are the movies on my list. I know we're running super low on time, but those are the movies for me that I think are super overhyped for spooky season. There could have been other movies on the list, but I didn't want to go into this, for like 20 minutes talking about the same stuff. So maybe we'll do a part 2 of this if you guys want it. Just let us know.
Yeah, we definitely. There's gonna be a lot of spooky content coming up. Definitely in the future, we're gonna definitely plan horror conversations, list, rankings, all that stuff. Worst. I would definitely like to do worst, or I don't know that. I mean, the list and stuff can change so much, but I want to definitely do stuff. I was thinking about this yesterday, and if I would have had more time to research, I would have tried to make it a segment today. I would love for us to know ahead of time, like, for example, Bell Witch, and us do a little bit of homework and discuss the legends of some of these hauntings, I guess, if you will, like historic hauntings. I think that would be really fun for spooky season to have like Sinister Tales and do that and kind of go in depth on some of it if you're down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. But, ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like your question to be featured in an episode of Sippin With Sin where we discuss it and do the last call question, feel free to join the Gilded server, gilded.gg/Sinister. Pack in the application just put from the pod, and we'll get you accepted. There's a whole section dedicated to last call questions as well as Sinister Tales. So if you want to submit a story for us to talk about during spooky season, there is your chance. There is also episode chat, drinks, all kinds of stuff where you can drop and talk about things, as well as a bunch of stuff around my streaming, different games and things like that. So it's a great way to stay in touch and link up with us and all that. You can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Threads at Sippin With Sin, SIPPIN with Sin. You can drop us a line there, submit your last call question there, follow us, or just talk to us about the episode. Let us know what you want for spooky season and stuff like that. Also, let us know what you thought about The Flash, or if you've watched Midnight Mass. If not, get on it. You have homework to do. You can find us there. Sippin With Sin comes out every Wednesday, 8 a.m. Central Time on Apple, Spotify, Google, Anchor.fm, Overcast, and many, many more. All those audio platforms. 8 a.m. every Wednesday, Central Time. And the video version comes out on my personal YouTube, youtube.com/IamSinister. 8 a.m. every Wednesday. Be sure to thumbs up, subscribe, rate it 5 stars, share it with a friend, enjoy it, pass it along, all that good stuff. Follow, whatever the platform requires. Show it some love, continue to spread love, and help the podcast grow. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. You can find me on my personal socials at IamSinister TV on Twitter, on Instagram, on Threads, over on TikTok, and on Facebook, IamSinister TV. You can find me all there, and then you can find me streaming like we're doing right now. And hopefully we'll get some feedback on if you guys enjoyed us doing the podcast live and would like us to do it again in the future. But you can find me streaming over at kick.com/IamSinister. You can also find me at twitch.tv/IamSinisterTV. And I think that's about it. I think that's about all the places you can find me. Possibly. I don't know. Christian, where can the lovely folks find you?
Guys, we're going to do it slightly differently because we are running super low on time. So I'm going to tell you guys where you can find me. Then I'm going to wrap the podcast up with the same thing that I do every week. So, guys, you guys can find me on Instagram at Vin and Ink, all one word. That is my personal Instagram. You guys can also find me on Twitter at my podcast as well. It's called Horrorverse Pod. You can find Horrorverse Pod everywhere on all the socials. You guys can also find me on TikTok doing book reviews, movie reviews, doing a little bit of artwork, all spooky, all fun, at my name, Christian Vincent, just me. That's where you guys can find me. I don't have too many more socials other than that, just because it gets hard to keep up with it. Sin, I know you know that. But with that being said, thank you guys for tuning in to yet another episode of Sipping with Sin. Thank you so much. Leave a 5-star review on YouTube if you guys are watching it. If you guys are listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, please leave a review. Let us know. We're going to start reading those reviews as soon as we get more in. I can't wait to do those. I might read those in funny voices. Whatever you guys want, we'll just go for it. But aside from that, guys, I'm going to leave you with 3 words. 3 words to leave you with on every episode. If you know them, say them with me. If you do not know them, listen carefully because they just may save your life. And those words are, don't get gutted.
See you guys next week.